At this time, I'll call our December meeting of the State Transportation Board to order. So, welcome, and I'm glad we're in person for this beautiful time of year. So, we're going to start with our invocation. Mr. Lewis, would you mind to do that for us? And then we'll have our pledge.
Sure, let us pray. Father, we call for this time, Lord, honor you, lift you up, Lord, we just thank you for this Christmas season, and keep us ever mindful of what this season represents. Father, we just pray your blessings over this time we have, over this department, and all that our people do on behalf of the state. Father, just bless us as we go through these proceedings throughout the remainder of the year. We lift this up in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. At this time, I'm going to have Kristen do a roll call.
Congressional District 1, Ms. Purcell.
Here.
2, Mr. Floyd.
Yeah.
3, Mr. Carricker.
Here.
4, Mr. Brown.
Here.
5, Ms. Key.
Here.
6, Mr. Abel.
Here.
7, Mr. Bowen.
Here.
8, Mr. Golden. 9, Ms. Dunn.
Here.
10, Mr. Boswell.
Here.
11, Mr. Lewis.
Here.
12, Mr. Morse.
Here.
13, Ms. Lemon.
Here.
And 14, Mr. Sharon.
Okay, we've about got a full bus here. So, for this final meeting of 2021, but we do appreciate everyone being here today. Right now, we need to approve our minutes from the November board meeting. I trust you all got them by email and that you read and reviewed them. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes? Do we have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to have a report on our projects for our January letting. Mr. Albert Shelby, if you'll come, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioner, and members of the board. I am here to present the project the department is proposing to advertise for the January 2022 letting. Before we present January, here are the FY 2022 results. We have let a total of 97 projects in fiscal year 2022. This chart shows the number of projects by improvement type. The value of these 97 projects is approximately $483 million through the November 2021 bid awards, with 94 GDOT let projects worth approximately $476 million, and 3 local let projects worth $6.81 million. This chart shows the dollar amount distribution by improvement type, with maintenance, bridge, and road projects making up the bulk of these types. Here are the results of the November 2021 letting. Of the 12 GDOT let contracts presented to the board, 11 were awarded and 1 was rejected. Now I'm going to discuss the projects in the January 2022 letting. We have a total of 29 projects, 27 are GDOT let and 2 are local let. The next 3 slides list these 29 projects arranged by congressional district. As you can see with this slide, we are letting a variety of projects throughout the state to address bridge, capacity, maintenance, and safety issues. The January 2022 letting is a bridge replacement focused letting. As you probably noticed in the project list a few slides back, many of the projects are bridge replacements. These projects are great examples of our continued commitment to maintain our existing infrastructure. 4 of these projects are funded with bonds provided by our state legislature. This first highlighted project is the replacement of the structurally deficient bridge on State Route 119 over Taylor's Creek. The existing bridge was constructed in 1986, 35 years ago. We worked closely with Fort Stewart on this project and is an excellent example of our interagency cooperation. And here's a ground view of that bridge to be replaced. This next highlighted project will install 1 single-lane roundabout on State Route 22 at Knoxville Road. The roundabout will improve operational efficiency by removing the current two-way stop-controlled condition for a single-lane roundabout. This roundabout will also improve safety. The next project will resurface State Route 42 and State Route 83 from State Route 18 to the Jasper County line. This section was last repaved in 2003, 18 years ago, and is an excellent example of our continued commitment to maintaining our existing infrastructure. This project is the replacement of the structurally deficient bridge on State Route 60 over Hot House Creek. The existing bridge was constructed in 1948, 73 years ago. And here's a ground view of that bridge to be replaced. The next project is the replacement of the structurally deficient bridge on State Route 10 over the Sweetwater Creek. The existing bridge was constructed in 1957, 64 years ago. Here's a ground view of that bridge to be replaced. This next project is the replacement of the structurally deficient bridge on Barrows Ferry Road over the Tobler Creek. The existing bridge was constructed in 1960, 61 years ago. Here's a ground view of that bridge. The next project is the resurfacing of State Route 121, which is also US 25, from the Jenkins County line to south of State Route 24. The length of the project is 12.16 miles, and this section was last repaved in 2003, 18 years ago. And the final project is actually a relet of the Brampton Road Connector, which will be located from State Route 21, which is also State Route 25, from the State Route 21 spur. The new four-lane facility, sponsored by the Georgia Ports Authority, will provide a more direct route for our Georgia Port Authority's Garden City Terminal and result in a substantial reduction in the existing truck traffic in the residential areas, as well as support the tremendous growth of the port. This project is a relet to clarify utility relocations to be completed by the contractor and thus receive better bids than we had in our first letting. So we have 29 projects proposed for the January 2022 letting. This chart shows the distribution by improvement type. The estimate of these projects in the January 2022 letting is approximately $153.9 million. This chart shows the dollar amount distribution by improvement type. I now ask for your consideration for approval of the proposed projects presented for the January 2022 letting.
Okay, at this time, could I have a motion to approve the January letting as presented? Do I have a second? Any questions? Concerns? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to call Matt Markham, our Deputy Director of Planning, to present our revisions for the construction work program.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioner, members of the board. I'm here today to present you with two projects, one of which is coming to you for the first time for review for changes to the construction work program that'll come back to you next month for action, and then one that I'm bringing to you that I had previously brought for review last month and is coming to you this morning for action. The first one I'll bring you, this one is one I'm bringing to you for the first time. It is a request for a deletion from the program in Congressional District 8, the city of Warner Robins. It's a streetscape project along the State Route 247 connector. It's being requested to delete from the program. It is a mix of federal and locally funded project, and the local government has asked for this project to be deleted as they look to decide different priorities for their local economic development needs and priorities for the area, and are asking for this one to be deleted. So I'll be happy to take any questions on this one, or again, I will bring this back to you next month for action.
Okay, any questions?
Okay. This next one that I'm bringing to you, this is one that I'm asking for action today. It came to you guys last month. It is an additional intersection improvement along Northside Drive. It was part of the Northside Drive corridor study. You may recall I brought 6 projects to you previously that you approved for revision to the construction work program that were part of that. This is an additional project with that. It's an intersection improvement as part of that overall study, recommendation to improve safety and operations along that corridor here in Atlanta. So I'll be happy to answer any questions, or otherwise would ask for your action on this to be added to the work program.
Okay, at this time, do we have a motion to approve the revisions to the construction work program as presented? Do we have a second? Do we have any questions? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, our commissioner report.
Good morning, Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Happy December board meeting. It's hard to believe this year has gotten by in such a hurry. We'll start, as we always do, with our state fund collections from November. Last month, total was $191.2 million in collections. Breakdown on that was $173.5 in excise, which represents an 8% increase over a year ago to date, so compared to November of last year. The transportation fee component totaled $17.7 million, which represents a 31% increase as compared to November a year ago. Leading that, most of that increase was the hotel fee. So saw tremendous more activity from hotels. This brings our year to date for fiscal year 22 as compared to fiscal year 21. We're about $98.3 million ahead of where we were last year, which is a positive trend. Let me move into our employment data. 3,617 full-time staff. We have 25 temporary maintenance staff, of which we try to onboard to permanent positions very quickly. We hired last month 58 employees and had 55 employees separate. So just barely keeping even there on the hiring and loss column. We'll again continue to drive that forward and try to push our numbers back toward 4,000. As it relates to procurement for last month, we had 141 professional services contracts executed that valued at $54.8 million, bringing our fiscal year to date to 855 professional services contracts valued at $361 million. So again, all the necessary preparation work so that you can vote to advance projects to lettings. So a lot of work there. Now let me move into our projects that were open to traffic last month. Just to highlight a few. We had a good many, but we'll start with a freight and mobility focused safety project in GDOT District 5 in Clayton County. GDOT, it's not District 5, District 7 here in Clayton County. And I'm not sure what we got on the screen here. That's not in Dodge County. So let me move forward here to Clayton County, right at I-75 northbound to 285. This is right in the farmers market area. If you look at the right screen, you can see the George's Farmers Market off to the right. 285 is to the top of the screen. This was construction of a CD system for that 75 northbound, what we call the weave, where the on traffic from the farmers market was trying to get on to 75 and everybody on 75 was trying to get on to 285, causing a crisscross pattern. And the way you solve that is to basically build a bridge for the ramp getting on, and the traffic for 75 to 285 goes under, so you don't have that conflict. A tremendous freight mobility and safety project. The contractor was Archer Western Construction Company. Opened up November 12th. Represents an $89.1 million investment. And you can see pretty much all the project in the picture there. So very complicated and costly work, but certainly will make a improvement on safety and certainly on freight operations. Moving into now Dodge County, GDOT District 2, a capital bridge investment in Congressional District 8. Is the project consisted of bridges and approaches on State Route 165 over Sugar Creek in Dodge County. The contractor was the industrial company. Got this one opened up in actually the end of October. Represents a $3 million capital bridge investment there. Also in Congression, moving into other capital bridge investments along the interstate system. We think about our interstate system being old, and we think about the bridges on the interstate, but there's a lot of bridges that go over the interstate that are the same vintage as those that you drive on the interstate. They were constructed when the interstate was built. This project in Congressional District 9 up in Franklin County, which is GDOT District 1, replaced the State Route 198 bridge over 85. The contractor was Williams Contracting Company. The original bridge was built, guess when? When the interstate was built, in 1962. So that gives you a vintage of that one. Opened up November 30th. It represents a $3.5 million bridge, and as you can tell from the picture there, we have to raise often the bridge elevations so that we have better vertical clearance, and that might be a theme later in my presentation, but you can see the approaches have to be raised up to meet the new standards. So anyway, that closes out the projects. As always, I always like to highlight anything of awards or recognitions that we have received, and I'm proud to say that we have recently been awarded 2 awards from the Public Relations Society of America, the Georgia chapter. The first award is the Award of Excellence in Integrated Communications category for the Keep It Clean Georgia anti-litter campaign. And you'll hear more about that next month. We're going to highlight some of that great work that our team has done there. The second award was the Phoenix Award in the category of Public Service for the Office of Communications in the role of GDOT's larger and statewide anti-human or against human trafficking. So we've presented to you over the years about our efforts and working with First Lady Kemp on trying to combat human trafficking, and we were acknowledged by the Public Relations Society of America for our work in that category. The Public Relations Society of America is a membership organization which annually hosts among the best in communications professionals across the public and private sector. And the Phoenix Awards, the 2 we won, are the highest awards that they give. So not only was it's nice to get an award, but they were the top award. So all this, of course, is recognition of the great work that our Office of Strategic Communications done, and I'm very grateful for the recognition that they so well deserve. So congratulations to our Strategic Communications Office. Also, I always like to update you on personnel happenings going on. In this next category, we'll put it into the bittersweet category. And it's our own Moises Marrero of Federal Highway, who was the division administrator here since 2018 and has been a great friend to us at GDOT, has moved on and been promoted into a new role effective November 22nd. He became the Stewardship, Oversight, and Program Management Team Leader for the Federal Highway's Office of Infrastructure at the headquarters level. So congratulations to Moises. He'll certainly be missed. We have Dan Hinton in the audience with us today. Dan, raise your hand. He's the Assistant Division Administrator and has been named as interim to keep things going with Federal Highway. We have a great partnership with Dan as well, and continue to look forward to working with you, Dan, in this role until Moises' position as Division Administrator can be filled. But I put that certainly in the bittersweet category. So, all right, got sound effects. There's a lot going on, and yesterday you heard from Josh a little bit on the IIJA and the components of that. And one of the things certainly is a focus in the IIJA is electric vehicle or electrification of fleets. And there's actually he showed yesterday on the slide a funding category for EV charging that becomes available. And Georgia certainly has been leading the charge as it relates to EV business and growth. As you know, we have one of the largest battery manufacturers in the world, SK, up in Commerce, right off Interstate 85. and several other companies such as Bluebird School Bus down in Middle Georgia building electric school buses. And there's so many companies in the supply chain here in Georgia that support EVs. Georgia is certainly leading the charge in a pro-business environment of EV adoption. So this next category is just a little bit of a update on the Electric Mobility and Innovation Alliance, which was created through economic development back in July. And I just wanted to highlight a few things. Georgia has recognized as number one in the Southeast for sales of electric vehicles, and nationally, Georgia ranks number 3 in the number of miles considered EV ready by Federal Highway Administration. So again, on top of that, there's some great recognition. Now, the Electric Mobility and Innovation Alliance has certainly been busy. It basically was 5 committees stood up for that to focus on supply chain, workforce development, innovation, policy, and infrastructure. And I'm proud to announce infrastructure was chaired by our own Janine Miller, and with the help of Matt Markham, who you just heard from, and also worked with the Carl Vinson Institute of Government and also Georgia Tech to work on and through some of these cross-cutting issues. And it really has prepared us and put us in a good situation as Georgia to be ahead of the curve, in my opinion, as it relates to some of the things that are approaching us at the federal level. Some of the insights we've seen so far is really, again, how do we deploy the funds that are going to become available? It was $135 million over the 5 years that we see is coming available for Georgia. And it's important to note, though, that those rules have to be developed. Federal Highway is working to get those rules out, and how do we operationalize that? There has to be an EV plan stood up and approved by Federal Highway before we can access those dollars. And obviously, it takes a lot of collaboration with our electric utilities across the state, especially in rural areas, to make sure that the power grid is capable of supporting the charging applications, and certainly a lot of public-private opportunities as it relates to the charging stations themselves. So at this time, each of the committees have put their final report together. They're being reviewed through economic development, and ultimately sometime early next year, those reports will be published. And so it's good timing because Federal Highway is publicly asking and seeking for input now based on what things should be considered as they develop their rules and processes. So again, just want to highlight that Georgia is leaning forward in this space and doing a lot of good work, and certainly proud that Janine's leading the charge on the infrastructure side and will provide tremendous input to the agency here as we move forward. Just wanted to update you too on an opportunity that Janine and I both had again, and we're honored to be part of Governor Kemp's pulling together a supply chain roundtable just a couple of weeks ago on November 22nd. And the governor pulled together both public and private businesses to sit down and focus on the issues of supply chain that is affecting not only Georgia, but this country and what can be done. We had Georgia Ports Authority, Department of Driver Services, the Technical College System of Georgia was represented. We had railroads, trucking industries, Home Depot, good roundtable discussion there you can see in the picture to talk about the issues that are facing all of us and how do we come together and keep Georgia the #1 place to do business. Very good roundtable, great discussion. I was able to highlight a few things, and the data just speaks for itself. Josh showed some of it yesterday as he showed the e-commerce outcomes from the e-commerce study commission. But one of the things I'll just share with you is we still are keeping track of traffic pretty routinely. John Hilbert and his team's doing that. Year to date, we've seen a 21% increase in truck volume on Georgia's interstates, above historical averages. And we look back just in October, a lot of days were pretty much averaging 24% higher, and we had some days that were 30 to 40% higher truck volumes on the interstate. I think you're all seeing that, as Josh talked about yesterday. We're all ordering more online, and that has a consequence. Also, those are interstates. We're seeing about 11% gain on state routes as well on truck volumes. And so, most of the freight is moved on interstates, gets broken down, and then delivered, as we talked about a little bit yesterday. So tremendous that. Also, it's sort of a neat correlation that Georgia Ports Authority had seen a 20% increase in container traffic, and we're seeing a correlation almost directly on trucks. Now, a lot of that gets on rail, but it gets broken, freight gets broken down, and so it gets on trucks. So the other thing I was able to highlight at this roundtable were the things we're doing that's really important for supply chain and logistics, which is reliability. If you know you got a reliable trip, even if it's a long trip, then you can time it and make it work. So it's pretty neat as we think about the things we do for reliability. One of the things we highlighted is the technology and traffic signals, and we've deployed 28 roadside units in the traffic signals in and around the port, and now are partnering with some of the trucking companies there that haul the containers in and out of the port, that they get freight priority, if you will, through the signals, and they get information in the truck that if the train's blocking the crossing, then they can figure another route out instead of sitting and wait on a train to move. And Ann knows all about block crossings in and around the port. So a lot of technology being deployed. The other thing we talked about is expansion of the towing recovery incentive program that we've had here in Metro Atlanta. That's when we have, big tractor trailer incidents that are going to take 45 minutes or longer to clear, and we basically pay towers to come in and give them an incentive if they meet our performance metrics of getting the incidents and the roadways clear. And so we're now deploying that statewide because we are continuing to have more and more incidences statewide that are blocking interstates, and that breaks down that supply chain and reliability. I was just a month ago, personally stuck on 85 3 hours. When interstate is shut down for 3 hours, those trucks, their hours are still burning, and they're not going to get to where they need to get. So anything we can do to help focus and clear incidences or be a part of that solution, we want to do that. Of course, I highlighted our CHAMP and HEROES, the great work they do as well, and we focused on truck parking and expansion opportunities that we will be moving forward. That we'll be looking at how can we provide more truck parking at our rest areas, welcome centers, and way stations in the coming year. So again, trying to provide opportunities for freight movement. It was a great collaborative process. The roundtable was very beneficial. It got some media attention, and just glad again that Georgia's focus is on businesses all inclusive. Speaking of interruptions in the supply chain, last Friday, about noon, we get notification, or maybe a little earlier than noon, we get notification that a bridge on I-75 in Bartow County, an overpass bridge, had been struck by a tractor trailer carrying a piece of equipment that was over height. Immediately, we had to go into action. The criticality of the bridge strike, if you look in the top left picture, it's sort of hard to see from here, but it looks like that beam was basically cut in half when the truck hit it. So lost support, obviously a critical condition. Very concerning. That thought we might have to just shut I-75 down totally in the southbound direction. This was just southbound. District 6 did a fantastic job in responding. Our bridge office here, got our bridge inspectors there. Don Diggerman, our state bridge engineer, got up there, started looking into the situation, assessing what we needed to do. Called on C.W. Matthews to rally to come to our aid in construction and support. And basically what they had to do was support the bridge to hold it up such that we could tear down the piece that was affected, the one beam and part of the bridge deck. That section of 75 carries about 80,000 vehicles per day. It's very busy. Mr. Lewis knows that. This is Old Grassdale Road. Only about 4,000 vehicles per day, as I understand, cross it. The bridge is still closed right now. We're working to try to get it back open to a single lane bridge to open it back up. But let me just tell you sort of the time events of this. Again, Friday lunchtime, assessed through Friday afternoon. Mobilization began immediately of District 6 for traffic control. Ended up having to close one lane on 75 immediately, just for safety's point of view. They ended up building a temporary lane in the median such that we can maintain 2 lanes of traffic. When you've got roughly 40,000 vehicles per day in that direction, one lane creates a significant backup. Even the one lane we closed had backups 4 or 5 miles. And so, they got the bridge shored up. You can see in some of the pictures the supports to hold that up. And then overnight, Friday night, closed I-75 down in the southbound direction totally. Worked with the county on off-site detour. Had traffic back open by Saturday morning to 2 lanes, and then Saturday night through Sunday morning, closed it down totally again to take the rest of the beam down. And by Monday morning, actually Sunday, about 2:57 a.m., had it back to 3 lanes open, and we haven't interrupted the supply chain. And we'll working on the ultimate repair of that and get that back open. But the criticality of stopping I-75 here before the holidays was one we could not stand. So just congratulations to District 6, our bridge team, C.W. Matthews, and all involved. It was certainly, again, all hands on deck to make sure that we keep traffic flowing. So good job. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was injured. And it was, again, one of those things you don't expect, but our team always responds well in these situations. And unfortunately, we have too much practice.
Mr. Commissioner, I believe Robert Brown has a question or a statement.
Commissioner, this is the second bridge that I'm aware of that has been struck by another vehicle. So what happens in that case, the process? Because somebody's at fault.
Yeah, there was a incident report, and we will seek recovery through insurance. And so we do that. There are some limitations on insurability on what the upper limits are. Luckily, this wasn't a full bridge, but full bridge damage, it was only a portion of one. But we will seek recovery.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Bowen?
Thank you. Commissioner, thank you for this report. It's great, but I'm glad to see that we've taken action in going statewide with this response program that we're talking about, because I've talked to several people about it. My other concern is how do we, in the response process, getting to the scene takes a lot of time when you're dealing with big, huge equipment and wreckers. And is any consideration being given how to improve that timing? How we might get them there, even though the traffic backed up, trying to get to the scene?
Yeah, Mr. Bowen, it depends. That's a sort of each incident has to be evaluated. Often our heroes will block ramps and sometimes have emergency responders go against traffic and have things stopped. It just depends on the situation and where you are. And so they look for those opportunities, okay. But often you are correct. The recovery, even us trying to respond, we're in the traffic backup as well. Obviously, we can utilize the shoulders and things like that, but some places you can't either. It just really depends. So,
thank you.
You're welcome. All righty, let's move off of this into better news. As we've talked about supply chain and logistics and how important that is for predictability. Well, one of the things we always focus on is mobility, obviously for Metro Atlanta, for commuters, and for all users. And I'm really excited to talk about this next partnership and provide some really positive news as we continue to develop our 285 express lane projects. And we continue to focus those that we benefit all users, just not the express lane users. We know that transit in those corridors have to be part of the solution, and it's absolutely critical. We've seen the benefit of express lanes especially on Northwest Corridor, with the express buses having to adjust their schedules because they were getting to their stops 20, 30 minutes too early. And so we saw that happen. But as we look at 285 and even 400, as we've continued to do so, we know that transit has to be that solution for part of mobility's improvements. And collectively, GDOT, the Atlanta Transit Link, MARTA, and the mayors around 285 know that incorporating bus rapid transit, or we affectionately call it express lane transit, into these corridors certainly provide more mobility options and can improve mobility. I'm pleased to announce that we've got the partnership with a memorandum of understanding that will address funding and collaboration between the parties I mentioned, plus non-MARTA counties, including Cobb County and Gwinnett County, joining into this MOU to focus on these opportunities around 285 for transit. And we're looking on the east side from Indian Creek MARTA Heavy Rail Station to H.E. Holmes MARTA Station over on the west side. So totally, a transit-focused outcome. There's going to be 2 working groups. We'll have a technical working group and a policy working group. That policy working group will be comprised of 1 elected official from each of the cities on the route, which include Clarkston, Tucker, Dorville, Sandy Springs, Dunwoody, Chamblee, Smyrna, and Atlanta, and 1 elected official from each of the counties, which is basically DeKalb, Fulton, and obviously Cobb and Gwinnett will have representation as well. So this is a tremendous partnership. It truly shows regional partnership in addressing mobility around 285, and also really important for us is the work of this through this MOU will be part of what we put into our procurement for 285, such that the developers, the private sector, can be responsive to what are those transit benefits that they can bring to the table as one of the criteria that we look for again, mobility for all. So really exciting, and I really commend MARTA and Chris Tomlinson over the ATL for working collaboratively to pull this together. And it was just awesome. Again, the mayors have already been working in a working group with MARTA and ATL, and this is really the formalization of those mayors all knowing that these transit solutions have to be part of the express lane projects in some form. So very exciting to see, and just wanted to bring that to your attention. The MOU will be signed through the different entities beginning now through next year, 1st of January. So again, just that, stay tuned. We'll have more. Those all should be signed in early next month. Now, I gave you the workforce numbers earlier of around 3,600 employees, always focused on trying to recruit, and very excited to talk about some opportunities we've had to engage at the high school level with some STEM events at North Gwinnett High School and Marietta Center for Advanced Academics, where they really celebrated the achievements in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which is affectionately called STEM. We had GDOT employees sharing our real-world experiences and information about what we do and how that requires critical thinking and problem solving. And I assure you that critical thinking and problem solving was used by District 6 in our bridge office when that bridge got hit. A lot of quick critical thinking and problem solving, but also how we use research and analysis to make decisions. And just a great day. I just want to highlight and recognize our team that participated: Michelle Pate, who's a senior design policy engineer; Robert Elam, who is the assistant office head in roadway design; Matthew Carroll, who's in GDOT's ecology team leader; Cisco Williams, who's GDOT's archaeological team leader; and Nicole Glenn, our recruiting manager, who all made it possible by making the relationships and, again, getting our GDOT brand into high schools and trying to get people excited about what we do and let them know the universe of the jobs and opportunities we have. So thanks to them, and again, hopefully encourage young high school students to take a career in engineering or transportation to some degree. Also highlighting great work of GDOT staff, and I just can't say enough about our staff. Each year, Governor Kemp and First Lady Kemp have challenged state agencies to participate in the Department of Family and Children's Services Secret Santa program, also administered through St. Vincent de Paul. This is the 3rd year that GDOT has participated in this opportunity, and last Thursday, HR Director Monica Ivey and her team of Santa's helpers delivered 100 gifts, as you can see in the picture, over to the Capitol that will fulfill 30 children's Christmas wish list. Everything from games to tablets, bikes, scooters, skateboards, you name it, was part of the gifts. I just want to again commend our leadership team, our division directors, districts for participating in that and showing generosity at this special time of year. So just again, want to highlight their great work. And of course, what would be end of the year without a little bit of a reminder of what happened over this calendar year of 2021. And I thought I would recap every meeting we've had up into this point. So if you've got some time, no, I'm just kidding. We're going to make it a little faster than that, but you all remember the reindeer, right? We want to do the sing-along of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You remember there's Dasher and Dancer, Prancer and Vixen. See, y'all got it. But we're not going to sing that. We're going to do it in the DOT way. How about that? But did you know we have our reindeer, we have interstates, and we have state routes. We have MMIP, and we have mobility. We have partnerships, and we have DBE. We have innovation. And you know who the most famous reindeer of them all are? It's our employees, right, that get it done. So let's talk about these. Interstates, recapping the year of 2021. Wow, we had a lot of things going on. You remember there was a cow on 285, closed 3 lanes for about an hour in Dunwoody? Mr. Bowen, you remember cows in Dunwoody? We had a soybean extract spill on I-85 right at 285 that caused us to basically shut down 85 for hours and had to go mill up the asphalt and put it down. It was slicker than a skating rink. As you remember, Mr. Brown just reminded, we had a dump truck hit a State Route 86 over I-16 and took that bridge down, and just had another bridge hit on I-75. And then again, the great work on the interstates that our heroes and champs do. Just to give you a little bit of perspective, last month, actually October, Champ did 22,000 stops on our interstates across the state. Now, their coverage is much greater than our heroes. Our heroes had almost 6,000 motorist assist in October. 18 of those, 18 were trip events, as I just talked about, major tractor trailer incidents that block traffic. So what a great job the men and women of Hero do and Champ. Our next reindeer is MMIP. We're always working to advance our MMIP projects. We had earlier this year a video presentation from Mayor Kay Pippin talking about how important the CVL, commercial vehicles lanes, will be for the city of Jackson and for Middle Georgia. In October, we just had a groundbreaking up on the Northwest Corridor for the Acres Mills Road express lane entrance ramps. And earlier this year, we talked about changing our form of P3 on the 285 express lanes that I just talked about with that MOU. So MMIP is very busy. Mobility, again, advancing mobility for all Georgians is our top priority. And we have launched the Let's Ride app for the rural transit system, which allows riders to to book a trip, basically, no matter what type of trip it is. We had another sort of freight mobility project, Effingham County Parkway, broke ground this year. Excited about that. And rewinding way back to the beginning of the year was I-85 Phase 3 project. Again, expansion up through Commerce. As I mentioned, SK Battery, tremendous amount of freight warehousing distribution up in that area, and 6-laning I-85 up to that point. The amazing thing about that was the environmental and the procurement activities only took 6 months. That's a record to advance a $142 million design build project. So great job by the team. The next reindeer is awards. And wow, as Scott Higley and I talked about that, is I don't think there's a month we don't have an award or recognition of some sort, whether it's DOT or you as the board. So we had certainly some big awards, a $3.2 million technology grant award for advanced transportation and congestion management technology deployment. That's a mouthful. Came from Federal Highway. We had a $200,000 grant to fund GDOT's development and participation in the National Work Zone Data Exchange. Again, trying to put real-time information out so that your app or whatever you're using to guide you as you drive gets that information. And we had so many personal or individual awards, I can't even list them all. Partnerships. Partnerships always are a valuable thing of what we do, and we can't do anything without solid partnerships. I remind you of a partnership that our Traffic Management Center has with Carbine, which was the technology that helps identify the person on the side of the road that needs help. That's where we took from 23 minutes of response time down to 3 minutes of finding out where people are exactly. Because when you're you know, unless you're a DOT geek like us, you don't know where you are. You just know you're on the side of the road. You know, we keep up with things with mileposts and things like that. But again, that great partnership with the private sector. Also, the Georgia Alert Emergency Notification System partnership with GEMA. That again is where we can send out an alert to you if you're in a corridor. We geofence an area and send you a notification. So just like I-75 last week, we pushed that out that anybody was basically anywhere north of Old Grassdale Road up toward Tennessee got an alert on their phone that the interstate was shut down. So, and it's only the people that are in that area. So sort of like a missing child alert that goes out. Same technology. And also a great partnership with Let's See 43 Foundation that we've shared with you in our efforts to extend our driver alert and arrival live opportunities to really focus on teen safety in the vehicle. The 43 key seconds that all of us should make before we ever put their car in drive and move forward. Next reindeer is the DBE reindeer. And obviously we've highlighted many things about DBE, but I just thought we'd capitalize on sort of the totality of the work that's been done so far. On our state supportive services side, we held 54 outreach events this year, attended by over 500 registered firms and individuals. We had 78 new one-on-one assistance requests and activities at the Business Help Center, and had 440 approved routine maintenance contractors identified as DBE. So new people entering in the job sector or new firms entering our job sector. On the federally funded side, we had 12 training modules every month, attracted more than 3,000 firms during the year. We had 45 virtual outreach events attended by more than 600 individuals. And we had 151 separate instances of in-person DBE assistance opportunities throughout the year. So you start adding all those numbers up, that's a very busy year. So great job from Kimberly and the team. Next reindeer is transportation innovation. Sorry. And I really, again, that's one of the highlights I think that we do such a good job with is continue to try to innovate and move things ahead. We had updates to our Georgia 511 system, and in your milepost laying on your desk, there's a whole article there about the updated 511 app. If you don't have that, go to your app store and get it. You can pull up cameras, you can get detailed route information about which routes you travel and get alerts. It's really a great app, great tool. Also, our Office of Transportation Data's application of video log was completed, which provides internally to us a great tool that basically is just like we can hop in the car and drive down a road and see all the details of what's on the road. Really helps us do our job more efficiently. And who can't forget the innovation that was shown last month with the Back Saver 2.0 of District 2, innovating and showing how to repair cable guardrail and with a lot less effort and manpower, and obviously in a more safe environment. And as Kyle Moat talked about yesterday, our management development program, so many innovations have come out of that through our staff and team that we've employed to put to work, and so many great outcomes. And we just end up with the last reindeer, our employees. Again, can't say enough about our employees. We try to highlight them and recognize them for their great work at these meetings throughout the year. One of those I remind you of was our District 5 maintenance foreman, Robin Dennison, who was recognized for his role of saving a child, and through his human trafficking training, alerted police and took a real bad situation and made sure that everything was okay. Great job from Robert. And again, so many recognitions individually for awards and recognitions. And 24 employees received their professional engineer's license this year, again, focusing on professionalism. So 2021 has been a very busy year, just as acknowledged by some of those numbers I just shared with you in details. And we look forward to even topping that in 2022. Madam Chair, that concludes my report. I'll be glad to entertain any questions or comments.
Okay, Mr. Lewis?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Russell, I also want to echo your comments regarding District 6 and their response this weekend. Grant Waldrop and his team did a fantastic job. I was able to catch up and talk with him, and I think when I talked to him, he had been up for, close to 48 hours straight. So I know what kind of work they put into resolving that situation, and there's still more to go. So I just want to give a shout out to them. Two other things real quick. The freight traffic study that you mentioned in there and the percent increases, would it be possible if we could get maybe an executive summary of some of that information and data, that especially the stats that you mentioned? I know I certainly would appreciate it and have an upcoming need to share such information. I'm sure my colleagues would appreciate that as well. And then the last thing, in one of your slides, when you were talking about electric vehicles, one of the pictures you showed were drones. And maybe you made a comment to it and I just don't remember, but I'm sure those drones were there for a reason. Would you mind just taking a minute or two and explaining what that was about?
Sure. Well, the Electric Mobility and Innovation Alliance is more than just vehicles. It's dealing with all of electrification, and obviously drones are one of those. Now, I'm not sure if there was a focus of drones in those working groups or not, but that is something that something is very relevant in transportation. There's the VTOL, as it's affectionately known, as drones that basically you as a person can ride in. And that technology exists. So we will see how, if we get to the Jetsons, when we get to that Jetsons, but that was just obviously a pic and graphic with no intended purpose that we have a specific focus other than the work that we already do with our unmanned aerial systems that we do here. And a lot of those photos you saw came from earlier came from drones. So certainly they have changed. A lot of work, as you know, in freight and freight movement is being talked about, packages being delivered by drones. So, but anyway, I don't know personally out of that EMIA if a drone was action. It's just a graphic what's shown on the screen.
Thank you.
Mr. Abel?
Russell, the 140 or 100+ million for EV charging stations, does that flow through GDOT, or is that part of what Federal Highway still has to ascertain?
So it's in the IIJA, so that is a program, and Federal Highway should be putting out the rules early next year. We have to develop a plan, and those dollars will come through us to be deployed. Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Boswell?
Russell, you mentioned the hotel motel tax was up. Do we know are they back to the pre-pandemic levels at this point or not?
Yeah, Mr. Boswell, I'm not sure about that. We can try to. I just wonder it's a certain rate. I'd have to go back and look. I don't know. We can find that out because it's pretty comparable based on the dollar because it's a flat rate. So right. We ought to be able to get some semblance of that.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? That was an excellent report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you all.
Okay, next on our agenda, we're going to have our board committee reports, and first up is our legislative committee. Ms. Purcell?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Legislative Committee convened at 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday, December the 8th. The board members present included myself, Emily Dunn, Kevin Abel, Johnny Floyd, Stacy Key, Jamie Boswell, Jeff Lewis, Greg Morris, Dana Lemon, and Jerry Sharon. The first order of business, Joshua Waller, Director of Public and Government Affairs, provided us an update on the recently enacted federal appropriation continuing resolution that extends the previous federal fiscal year FY21 appropriations through February the 18th of 2022. He noted that while all the authorizations and policies of the recently enacted Federal Transportation Authorization, which is IIJA, now have the force of law. The effect of the appropriations continuing resolution is to not fully fund the IIJA, but rather to maintain funding for the programs at the low FAST Act level. Mr. Waller further provided an update on the recent meetings of the Georgia General Assembly's Commission on E-commerce and Freight Infrastructure Funding, which will issue its report December the 31st of 2021. He concluded with a note about the Intermodal Division's ongoing study of freight funding, which should conclude by December of 2022. No committee action was taken. Therefore, the business of this meeting was adjourned at approximately 1:59 p.m. That concludes our report.
Thank you. Next, we have our administrative committee, Ms. Key.
Thank you. The Administrative Committee convened at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, December 8th, 2021. Board members present include Vice Chair Ann Purcell, Emily Dunn, Kevin Abel, Johnny Floyd, Jamie Boswell, Jeff Lewis, Greg Morris, Dana Lemon, Jerry Sharon, and myself. First order of business, Kyle Moore, Statewide Talent Development Manager, gave the committee an update on the Talent Development section of Human Resources. The update featured an overview of training and certifications offered, with highlights of the innovation in addition to the department's management development program, such as the nation's first hybrid leadership program and the first 2-week all-virtual leadership program. The update also contained the introduction to RAMP, which is a virtual leadership training, along with highlights of the work of the department's LTAP program and district offices. No actions were taken. There being no further business, the meeting was adjourned at 2:19 p.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Key. Mr. Lewis, now the Program Delivery Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The program delivery convened at 2:30 p.m. Wednesday, December the 8th, 2021. Board members present included myself, Purcell, Dunn, Abel, Floyd, Key, Boswell, Morris, Lemon, and Sharon. First order of business, Kenneth Franks, the state TIA administrator, provided an update on the upcoming referendums for TIA 2 in the River Valley and Heart of Georgia, Altamaha regions. The TIA and planning offices closely coordinated with the local governments and regional commissions to ensure successful project lists were developed. The 10-year tax could generate $664 million in transportation revenue for River Valley and support 46 projects on the approved investment list. In the Heart of Georgia, Altamaha region, the 10-year tax could generate $392 million in transportation revenue and support 580 projects on the approved investment list. The regional T-SPLOST referendum for both regions will be voted on in the May primary. There were no actions taken in the committee, and there being no further business, the meeting adjourned at 2:52 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. At this time, I'll give the report for the Committee of the Whole. The Committee of the Whole convened at 3 p.m. on Wednesday, December 8th, 2021. Board members present include Abel, Floyd, Key, Boswell, Lewis, Morris, Lemon, Sharon, Purcell, and myself. Our first order of business, Steve Bryan, Division of Intermodal Aviation Program Manager, provided the committee with information regarding the proposed amendments to Georgia Administrative Code, Chapter 672-9, Rules and Regulations for Licensing Certain Open to the Public Airports to address airport standards that have changed at the state and federal levels. Suggestions for minor word changes were received during the public comment period, but no substantive comments were received. The updated rule is ready to be considered for adoption by the board. The second order of business, District Engineer Kelvin Mullins provided an update on the activities of District 1. Traffic ops and pre-construction updates were provided, including permit statistics for FY21, the ongoing design of SR 365 at Howard Road in Hall County, and upcoming improvements along the SR 316 corridor. Construction project updates were provided for SR 316 at SR 53 in Barrow County, SR 324 at I-85 in Gwinnett County, SR 400 at SR 369 in Forsyth County, and SR 60 at Oak Grove Road in Lumpkin County. Maintenance updates included the resurfacing of Amaclella Falls State Park and Fort Yargo State Park, maintenance COVID response, emergency response, and landscaping in Hart County on I-85 was also discussed. The FY21 ITB and quick response programs were reviewed. For committee actions, I will now ask for a motion to approve the proposed amendment to Georgia Administrative Code, Chapter 672-9. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you. There being no further business, I adjourn the meeting at 3:25 p.m. So this concludes our agenda items at this time. Do we have any new business? If not, I think that this meeting will be now adjourned. Thank you.